Good morning and welcome to the Gribley's Folly Community Garden, Massage Parlor, and Campground. That's right. The tent is still up. How many weeks has it been? I don't know. We're just going to call it a campground. Anyway, this is the Sunday Antisocial. That time each week when I smoke my pipe and complain about humanity while answering all of his questions. If you have an itching, burning question for me, leave it in the comments below with the hashtag AskGribs, and I will answer any question. Big questions, small questions. I might even pose some questions to you. Like, when you're cleaning your rifle, do you use rim oil or brake free? Bore snake or patch rod? I can't decide. Actually, I'm a big bore snake fan, but I would love to hear from people who aren't. Like, why wouldn't you just use a bore snake for everything? Smoking my Dagner Cobb with HH Old Dark Fired Ready Rubbed, a beautiful smoke. Just a gorgeous, well-rounded, full, kind of like, it's not rough around the edges. It's not a Cornell and Teal tobacco, but it has like an area where it could be. Like there's this place, there's a peak in the taste profile that might be just the tiniest bit jagged, but then it's like mounted under glass. Does that make sense? If you like things mounted under glass, prints are coming soon. They're coming very soon. And I think actually a few more emails back and forth to the printer and I will be offering some prints from the Pinhole collection. And once I get those going, I'm going to put up a link to my website. You can order prints if you want, and we'll go from there. I gotta go out and shoot some more. I put myself on a shooting hiatus because I'll just keep shooting and never actually market the work. You know what I mean? So I told myself, like, I have a good portfolio. I'm gonna send work off to galleries. I'm gonna get some prints online. Let's do this thing before I keep shooting. But it's September, like 21st. Is this the first day of fall? Or is that tomorrow? I don't know. Here's a fish. To the internet, the first day of fall is September 23rd. I totally knew that. Just wanted to see if you guys did. I was testing you. Let's find our list of questions for the week. We got some good ones. I wanted to thank Timber Drifter for his... He wrote quite a long comment on organic versus conventional farming methods. And this is going to do that thing where it doesn't update my document, isn't it? Grib answers. There's the document. It should be a 2-page long document, and it's 3 pages because it hasn't updated. Hang on. I'm always just amazed at how hard it is to make a video where I respond to comments. Like, it's really, by the time Google Drive syncs and YouTube actually shows me the comments, which it really doesn't want to do, I spend like an hour getting the comments together and then moving them over. It's still not going to sync, so I'm just gonna wing it. Cobbett of the Shire says, to argue that it is no use trying to bring global warming change because there are greater polluting countries is like a thief arguing it is not worth stopping stealing because there are bigger thieves than him. I think that's true. I think you're right. I'm not saying that we shouldn't combat global warming as Americans, but I am saying what I said in the last video was that the energy we put into that might be better spent on, I don't know, organic farms or something like that. The thing I don't like about climate change is that it's an abstract that allows people who want to do something to, instead of adopting change into their own lifestyles, it allows them to write letters. Oh, I wrote a letter to my senator. I wrote a letter to the CEO of whatever company. That doesn't actually do anything. And if you have to be the change. And so I do think we should work on climate change. How do you do that? I mean, I drive a fuel efficient car. I try to conserve energy whenever I can. I do get my electricity from the last coal-fired power plant in North Carolina. But I can't really do anything about that. It's hard to actually make change in your own life, and I'm convinced, with my work with Gribley's Folly, I have become convinced that's the only way to make change at all. So I got a lot of comments about the rifle video and people talking about one rifle versus another. Timber Drifter says I'd choose the Marlin over the 10/22 for hunting, but then he went on to say it depends on which rifle is more comfortable to carry and shoot in the woods for a long, it's different from bench rest shooting. It's actual field shooting. Let's see what else we got. There's somebody else that lives. I think it was Bayou Guru. See, I'm sorry, my document's all messed up here. Bayou Guru said the only thing I needed that for the 1022 was a 100 round mag. Listen, while we're on this subject, a magazine is a box, an enclosure that holds rounds inside a gun. A clip is it's a clip that holds rounds to be put into a magazine. A clip does not go in a gun. The magazine goes in the gun. Clip versus magazine it really is the sacrament of gun culture. If you say clip when you should say magazine, you're not a real gun nut. Okay, my document finally freaking updated, and that was not Bayou Guru, that was one noggin, but Bayou Guru is the one that said he has got both the same guns and he would go with the Marlin any day. I have been obsessed with rifles this week, and this is the way that I work, and I get on a subject or a piece of gear or a project I want to do, and I can't think about anything else. And that is what has happened this week, and I'm pretty sure that by the time I actually get out in the field, I'll have another rifle. I don't know, it's like the thing that I said I wasn't going to do, right? Like, I'm going to get rid of one of these rifles to get down to one rifle because I want to simplify my life, right? And now I'm like, these rifles suck. I need a new rifle. It is all part of my master plan. If anybody wants to buy a used Marlin or 1022 and you're in the Carolinas, send me a message. Piper asks Gribbs, when are you going to do pinhole photos of Pop-Tarts? Pop-Tarts in the wild, Pop-Tarts that have been domesticated, Pop-Tarts making little Pop-Tarts. When will this happen? You laugh, Typing Piper. You laugh at my pinhole nerdery, but there are people out there that really take advantage of the fact that pinhole photos have infinite depth of field, and they put little characters in scenes because you can put them right next to the pinhole and they're in focus, and then the entire scene behind them is in focus. So people like, I know, I think it's Three-Eyed Monster on Instagram. By the way, follow me on Instagram and like my stuff. I've got 3 photos right now that have hit more than 100 likes. And for a fat suburban wilderness hero like me, that's a lot of likes. I'm proud of myself. Anyway, I think it's Three-Eyed Monster. He's in Hawaii. He takes a little Incredible Hulk figure and he puts it on like rocks at the beach and takes pictures. And because of the way pinhole works, it looks really like, it looks different from how you would think. Go check him out, Three-Eyed Monster, and check me out at Gribbly's Folly. Howard asks Gribbs, Bullwinkle asks, why? And then there's some smiley faces and some emojis with squirrels? Is Bullwinkle's a moose? Is this about the squirrel hunting? Why do I go squirrel hunting? I'm going to assume that's what this is about because there's some squirrels. And this is not just an existential why. I go squirrel hunting because I want the experience of killing my food and eating it. And I don't particularly enjoy that experience, actually. In fact, I find it it's pretty unsettling. But I eat meat. And you've heard me say over and over again that if I could wave a magic toilet paper tube and change something about my life, I would be either a vegetarian or a kill-it-myself-atarian, that I would only eat meat that I had killed myself. I'm nowhere near that goal, and my issues with food are really complex and pathological, which is why I'm a fat suburban wilderness hero instead of just a suburban wilderness hero. And I would really like to get, though, to the point, and someone else asked a question about this, and I've lost it, and all the syncing and the YouTube comments not showing up. And by the way, now YouTube is filtering comments that might be inappropriate. They might be inappropriate. So I don't even see them unless I go to a certain tab, because they don't want me to see the inappropriate comments. I'm a 38-year-old fucking man, and I curse like a sailor. Like, I can see the comments. And this then feeds into Electrolux's Ask Gribbs question, which is why in 2019 are we still a society that censors curse words with asterisks? We'll get to that in a second. Hang on. Story short, it wouldn't be a true antisocial if I didn't complain about modern society. And modern society is soft and lazy and entitled, and we just don't understand how good we have it By the way, I went to the dentist yesterday, and my teeth look great now, right? And I don't have anything, cavities or anything. But this morning, brushed my teeth, or before I brushed my teeth, I looked in the mirror and did this thing, and I had little blood clots here at all my gums because the lady that cleaned my teeth was just, she had some anger issues, man. Anyway, I think that it's very important for us to understand the natural cycles of life, and especially if we're going to go eat meat, from the grocery store. And so that's why I try to go squirrel hunting every year. And this year, I want to get up here in the public lands and do some squirrel hunting. Eventually, I might want to do some bigger hunting, but I got plenty of stuff in my life to work on before I work on that. When y'all go get your teeth cleaned, right? Do you immediately after that want to go eat candy? Every time I do it, I'm like, my teeth don't feel right. I need some candy. They told me to stop drinking coffee, stop smoking a pipe. Actually, they didn't. They just said, well, if you're going to do these things, your teeth are going to react this way. They always tell me different stuff. They're always like, oh, well, you've obviously got like gum cancer. And then the next time they're like, your gums look great. And I'm like, I didn't do anything different. I brush and floss just like normal. I've had one cavity in my entire freaking life. You guys always tell me I'm about to die. Anyway, in honor of that, I drank a bunch of coffee this morning and I'm smoking my pipe right now. Over a pipe, Ask Gribs, with the recent release of movie remakes, the upcoming Top Gun and Rambo movies, has all creative juice been thoroughly squeezed out of Hollywood, or did YouTube kill the movie star? What say you? Well, yes, we forget that Hollywood is not in the business of creative storytelling. Hollywood is in the business of making money. So why would it behoove them to have actual new ideas when they could just remake a movie that people watched 30 years ago when they were kids, and they know people are going to show up and watch it because, number one, I mean, it's a formulaic blockbuster movie, and it's got nostalgia value, and people are going to be drawn to the theater to do that. It's a real problem for me, and it's why I don't go to the movies anymore, is because it's just all the same shit. And I went to see the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark movie because of nostalgia value, and it was terrible movie. And I'm actually kind of sorry that I watched it, because now I'm not going to be able to get it out of my head when I read the books to my kid. He's 4. It's time to start reading him scary stories. But even like the Hobbit movies, it's like, the first 3 Lord of the Rings movies were amazing. And then a few years go by and they're like, well, we need some cash. What could we do? Oh, people loved those movies. Let's make the Hobbit movies. And instead of making 3 movies out of 3 books, we'll make 4 movies out of 1 book, the shortest book in the entire canon. What were they thinking? They were thinking they wanted to sell 4 movie tickets instead of 1. And that's how it is. And it's late stage capitalism. And I love capitalism, but you have to recognize, if you're going to be a capitalist, that you will eventually sell your soul if you're not careful. And I think that's what's happened in a lot of our creative sectors: music, film. Are there any other creative sectors? Video games. How many Call of Duties can you make? Is that still a thing? Are they still making Call of Duty video games? Of selling our creative souls, Pete Piper asked Gribs, is Bob Seger's old-time rock and roll played at every wedding you work? Yes. Yes, it is. With the equinox coming up, Lutrasaurus asked Gribs, does a full moon or an equinox contribute to a perfect smoke? Do you believe in a perfect smoke? Have you obtained a level of perfect smokiness? Well, I don't think I do believe in a perfect smoke, because I think every smoke should be unique, right? I mean, now, obviously, you want some consistency in your pipes and tobacco, but what you ate for dinner, whether you're drinking coffee, whether you're drinking whiskey, whether you're not drinking anything, if you're out in the woods, if you're in your community garden or massage parlor, those things all go into the character of the smoke. Now, granted, I've been smoking HH Old Dark Fired Ready Rubbed for my videos for a long time, and it's pretty consistent. It's pretty much the same. But I think that when you really seriously start to taste the tobacco, all these factors they're gonna play into it. And if a perfect smoke existed, why would you want to chase that? Like if you had a smoking chamber, you're in a sensory deprivation tank with your pipe and your favorite tobacco. That's how you can achieve the perfect smoke. Well, then are you ever going to smoke while you're driving to work? You know, like, or are you always going to feel like that's not as good a smoke as your sensory deprivation tank smoke? I would really like to smoke a pipe. I've never been in a sensory deprivation tank, but I think it'd be a great place to smoke a pipe. I think perfect is the enemy of the good in this case. However, because this question was about moon phases and equinoxes, I decided that the real authority on this would be the witch. So I turned this into an Ask Gribbs to Ask the Witch question. If you ever have a question for a real live witch, you can always add that hashtag Ask Gribbs to Ask the Witch. All right, so I wrote the witch and I said, I just forwarded the question. She said, I suppose that depends on whether or not a perfect smoke is in the company of an otherkin or not. I said, WTF is an otherkin. She says, oh dude. Otherkin are people who identify as partially or entirely non-human, a dragon, a lion, a fox, you name it. There is probably someone out there who feels like they are more these things than they are human during certain phases of the moon. I said, okay. She says, this is where people identify as elvish, werewolves, vampires, loads of other things, and commonly a combination of these things. I said, okay. She says, I haven't looked at them in years, but I recall the message boards for otherkin being gold, such as, quote, I'm a water unicorn with a strong warlock influence. Anybody else like me in Boise? Lutrasaurus, I don't know if that answers your question, but it sure is interesting. Grant by the river, hashtag Ask Gribbs. Why did you stop restoring pipes? Unfortunately, Farmer Brad beat me to the best answer because Gribbly strangled Defiant pipes for what limited hair he had to turn into soft hackle nymphs. That's pretty much it. So for those of you who were not around for the early days of my channel, it was initially named, well, we won't get into all the minutiae of my channel, but at one point my channel was named Defiant Pipes, and that was because I was buying old pipes on eBay and shining them up and reselling them on Etsy as like a craft. And I had some equipment, and I made some money, and I had some fun. I thought it was a really cool thing to do. But when I actually started selling the pipes and realizing that I could like pretty much sell as many pipes as I wanted doing this, it stopped being fun. It was still fun, and it's always fun to like work on something and then sell it and get money for it. And I was making a profit, but I wasn't making enough of a profit or having enough fun to keep doing it because it was so much work. It was an unbelievable amount of work, and it was work that took me out of my house because I would do it down here and I would get filthy. And so I wouldn't want to go like back upstairs and like pick up my kid with someone else's tobacco cake all over my hands. I would get filthy, and it just wasn't fun enough to keep doing it. And so I eventually just made back all the money I spent on the initial costs and called it good. And occasionally I still think, you know, I should do that again. But if I'm going to spend a lot of time doing minute repetitive tasks, I would rather tie flies. And it's funny, it represents an ongoing thing in my life of trying to simplify as much as I can because, you know, of course, while I was doing that, my pipes were super shiny, super well taken care of, and I don't do that anymore. I don't do that. I barely, like, the main reason you mostly see me smoking cobs instead of briars is because if I smoke a briar, then I have to clean it. And so I've switched to, like, I never clean my cobs. They're not meant to be cleaned. And, I mean, I guess some people do. But I just want to smoke the pipe. Like, I want to experience the pipe, not experience the cleaning of the pipe. And I know it's part of the ritual for some people, and I respect that. I honor that. But maybe I just did it too much. Farmer Brad asked Gribbs, can we get just one last trip to the ruins of the Bothy? Absolutely. Ask and you shall receive. We got that one in the hopper coming up. after I posted the video about the rifles, Typing Piper asked Gribbs, tobacco, firearms, and what else could you add to your channel to have it shut down? Good question. Good question. And I have noticed two commenters specifically that have stopped commenting, and I imagine Norbo is just taking a break. I don't think he would stop commenting because I had a video about rifles. Sam and Bithlow, I think, probably got fed up with me talking about guns and has stopped commenting. So if you guys are out there, sorry. Sorry. Not sorry, but sorry, not sorry. I mean, I don't really think you can argue that squirrel hunting and target shooting are not legitimate purposes for firearms ownership. I mean, I think that I don't really think that's where the political divide is. So maybe I'm just projecting, but these are not assault weapons or really even weapons at all. Lux asking, how many squirrels have you killed and do you eat them? Yes, I eat them. I do not kill things that I don't intend to eat. Once I killed a squirrel and it could not be eaten. There was not much left of it because I had the wrong load in a 12 gauge. But yes, I have killed, I want to say less than 10 squirrels in my lifetime because I only go once a year, and most years we never even see a fucking squirrel. So really, I'm talking about rifle hiking. It's not squirrel hunting, it's hiking with rifles. But this year is going to be different, and that addresses the reason I haven't been to the Bothy. The woods back there are so grown up, I don't want to be in them during the summer. And so now that fall is upon us, I'm excited about switching away from the fishing focus to the woods bushcraft focus, which becomes a lot more palatable when the overgrowth sort of dies down a little bit. And like I said, I do think we will do some hunting videos if I ever get a rifle I'm happy with, which apparently has nothing to do with the actual function of the rifle. It's just an internal. Okay, so people that spend like $1,200 on your 1022, is it more fun? Like, have you made a more fun sporting arm? Or is it just, are you just trying to satisfy your own need for perfection? Because I feel like that's what I'm trying to do here, although the trigger is really atrocious. I actually made a video about why my 1022 sucks, even though it is a great rifle. And then I decided not to post it because if anybody wants to buy a 1022, they totally don't suck. Send me an email, gribblysfolly@gmail.com, because it doesn't suck. It's an awesome rifle. It just could be more awesome for the same amount of money. And that's totally a reasonable expectation, Gribbs. Totally. To address the real question, Kid Electrolux asked, isn't it about time the world grew up and stopped using asterisks to replace letters in it? Yes. Yes, it is. The whole deal with profanity is this. It's fun. I've never heard a convincing argument against profanity. Profanity is the fucking awesomest shit ever. And in fact, there are multiple studies I have heard about that suggest that people who use profanity are more intelligent and are more trustworthy than people who specifically abstain from profanity. And so my mom makes the argument somewhere in the Bible it says that every word should glorify God, and you can't glorify God with profanity. I'm not so sure about that. I think that these are words that were invented long after the Bible was written. They weren't even really. I mean, did they have profanity in ancient times? How old is profanity? Like the idea that there are words that you just shouldn't say. How old is that? Well, it probably actually is pretty old because it's kind of superstitious. I don't know. But I really feel like this is, again, a thing of like, okay, I can make a TV show or a movie and I can say, I'm going to kill you, you incestual scumbag. I'm going to kill you with a corn rake and spread your entrails across my roof. But if I say, I'm going to kill you with a fucking corn rake and spread your entrails across my fucking roof, that's not cool. So the line of like, oh, these words are not FCC approved really takes away from the actual question of, is the thing I'm about to say a kind thing to say or not? Um, like you can. I mean, the example I really like to use is in an R-rated movie, you can show a nipple. You can show a female nipple. You can show a chainsaw cutting the female nipple off, but you can't show that nipple engaged in sexual acts. Which is really more vulgar? Chainsaw murder or sex? My kid is 4, and we try not to be vulgar around him, and vulgarity and profanity are different things, right? So my strategy here, and we'll see if I can stick to it, is that as he gets older, I want to explain to him that it's not the word that is bad, it's your intent when you use it. And I would much rather you be profane and kind than have squeaky clean church language and be unkind. Your fucking Sunday is just fucking phenomenal, and you're having a shitting great time out there wherever you are smoking your pipe. Thank you so much for watching. What content do I have coming up this week? I don't know. No content. It's tired of content. Content is really overrated. I mean, really all you need is just a good title and a thumbnail, and people will click on your videos. I don't know why I go to so much trouble for content. Oh, let me show you something before I go. I have this old empty bottle of Defiant whiskey, which is actually made here in the Western North Carolina, and it's pretty good whiskey. And I've been collecting my 22 brass because I don't like to litter, So I try to collect the brass, but also because I'm pretty much, unless I go to the range just to get neurotic about my rifle, anytime I'm producing 22 brass, I'm usually with my friends and I'm having a good time, and so. Just for sentimental reasons, I've been sort of like building a piece of art to put on my shelf one day when it's full, and I think we're gonna get there. Let's see. I don't know if this is get in the bottle. Get it. Oh, this is. I don't know. Okay, we didn't quite make it, but I bet if I got all the rounds out of the damn floorboard of my car, I could make it. But we'll definitely fill it up by the end of this season. Anyway. Not a bad piece of wall art. All right, that's it. That's enough silliness. Thank you for watching. Keep the ends out for the ties that bind.